the information, share it with folks in your network who you think might benefit from the information shared. And then I'm going to share my screen and I'll also drop this in the chat as well. Can you see the agenda?
Mhm.
Okay. So
Meeting is being recorded. Meeting is being recorded. Meeting is being recorded. Meeting is being recorded.
okay. Okay, I think we're good. We're good now. I don't know if y'all were hearing that echo. Okay. So welcome to our June Recovery Network meeting. We hold these meetings every month virtually, third Thursday of the month, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern via Zoom. Our presenters today include Lindsay Huff with Recovery Village, and then we have Mary Lay with the IU Problem Gambling Awareness Program. I think it has a longer title than that, but you will learn all about that when Mary presents. And then, if time allows, we'll open the meeting up to all of you to share information about the work you're doing. If you have any new programs in the works or fun summer events for the community, fundraisers, all that, that will be your time to shine and actually network with one another. So I will stop sharing my screen and turn it over to our first presenter. Lindsay, it's all yours.
Thanks, Heather. Hey guys, good morning. I hope everybody's feeling good. I guess it's afternoon now. So my name is Lindsay Huff. I am full-time a community outreach associate for the Recovery Village of Indianapolis, and then got my side hustle. I'm a contract trainer for ICATA. I facilitate the trainings for recovery coaches to get certified. Um, yeah, through our lovely ICATA. So, I am a person in long-term recovery. I got certified as a recovery coach in 2014. I've kind of moved my way through the ranks over the last almost 12 years. So today I'm going to present on the Recovery Village, which is my full-time position. We are um, a drug and alcohol treatment center located on the east side of Indianapolis. And I'm going to go through all of the great things with you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me. I am always up for a good question. All right, so we're going to go through this kind of quick. And there's several slides in here. Recovery Village is also outside of Indianapolis. We've got some facilities in other states. I won't take you through all of the other states. I want to focus us on Indianapolis today. But yeah, so our mission at the Recovery Village is to provide life-changing treatment, support to individuals in need, and we couldn't do it without exceptional partners like all of you guys, everybody that's out in the field and making a change for the people that need it most. So thank you, everybody who's here today. So, Recovery Village was founded by two doctors. They're our co-founders, and Dr. Lewis Gold and Dr. Mitchell Eisenberg identified that they didn't think that treatment was being supported in the right capacities in the community. And so they started Recovery Village, physician owned and operated in Florida, and we've expanded out since then. Our Recovery Village, Indianapolis, has only been in the area for 2 years. So this is all of our facilities as a whole. The closest facility to RVI, Recovery Village Indianapolis, is RVC, which is Recovery Village Columbus. And that facility offers a residential 28-day for mental health, which is unheard of in the state of Indiana. I don't know how many people are specialized within the mental health realm, but what we have in Indiana is acute stabilization. We don't really venture out into that 28-day residential. Reimbursement rates are low for it, but we do offer that at our Columbus location. So at Recovery Village, our core beliefs are recovery is possible, patients deserve respectful, compassionate care. Addiction and mental health conditions can be treated with evidence-based treatment that is supported by research. The mental and physical effects of addiction should be addressed together, and recovery is a lifelong commitment. So we start our Recovery Village Indianapolis offers levels of care such as medical detox, so that 5 to 10 day detox period where we're getting the substance out of the body. We during that time we assess and we treat the withdrawal risk and symptoms, co-occurring medical needs, primary co-occurring psychiatric needs, and we get the medication assisted treatment of the person's choice on board to help them through that process. We focus on collaboration with our clients. Individualized patient-centric treatment plans are made. We identify and involve family sober supports. So on average, your traditional treatment center Medicaid reimbursements cover four one-on-one therapy sessions during a 28-day stay. So that's one a week. We up ours to two. So we do four individual and then we focus the four others on family supports and really treating the whole family as a unit instead of as separate entities. Of course, with the patient's, choice. We always work to identify and assist with any housing, legal, employment, and education needs. We focus on rehabilitation, so evidence-based medical and clinical practices, frequent visits with medical, nursing, clinical team members based on the level of care that the person has identified or is needing, and then we provide a therapeutic community for recovery. I myself am a person in long-term recovery, and when I was going through everything I was going through, I wish that Recovery Village would have been around. I think that maybe it wouldn't have taken me as many times to get through treatment. And then the last thing that we do, so I manage all incoming referrals from like 96th Street of Indianapolis all the way out to Crown Point. So I manage referrals for the northern half of the state. People call me directly all the time. Hey, Lindsay, this is what I need. This is what I want. I help to facilitate whatever it is that for that person. So if it's Recovery Village, I'm going to get all of the information to get them to us. If it's sober living, I'm going to refer out to the best sober living options that I know of to fit that person's needs. If it's outpatient, I refer out to outpatient. So I work with anyone and everyone. I also sit, so I see the admission from start to finish into the facility. And then when the person has moved through all of the treatment within the facility and they're getting ready for discharge, I work with our case managers to facilitate a discharge plan. We do not offer IOP, and so we don't do that aftercare. But what we do, because we have people coming from all over the state, is I get to work really closely with the case management team to get that person plugged into the system of care that they either came from or the one that's going to best support their needs close to where they're living once they leave us. So if they're going to sober living, we're going to get them plugged into aftercare around where they're going to be moving. Um, yeah, that was a lot really fast. Any questions? Great. Okay, so who and what do we treat? We are adults only, 18 years of age and older. We are primary substance use, secondary mental health. And we focus, substance use first, but then we're also focusing on anxiety disorders, depressive disorders, PTSD and trauma, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorders, and all other mood disorders. The primary substance use that we treat, again, adults 18 years of age or older, alcohol use disorder, methamphetamine use disorder, opioid use disorder, ugh, cocaine use disorder, sedative, hypnotic. I'm not going to even try that word. But I believe in you guys and your ability to sound it out. I just don't want to do it on camera. And then really anything and everything. The only thing that we don't, that I'm gonna like, we don't do marijuana only. Most of the time, we're gonna need another substance on board to be able to qualify for them for detox. Okay. So our treatment team looks like we're physician owned and operated. We have a doctor on site 5 days a week and on call the other two. We're a 3.75 level of care, so we fall right underneath the hospitals. So our treatment team looks like our, medical director. We've got a DON on site, so a director of nursing. We've got director of clinical, case managers, physician's assistants, and then physician service coordinators. We also have behavioral health technicians that just help with the day-to-day. It's more of that person-centered approach of they're not always certified peers, but a lot of them do have that background. And so they're keeping everybody moving in a positive direction within the mindsets. So I am not going to take you through every facility, but I'm going to jump ahead to Recovery Village so you guys can see it. I think it's 31. Yeah. So, our Recovery Village Indianapolis, Juan Wilson is our site CEO, and he is a person in long-term recovery. His gateway into the field was recovery coaching. And then he extended his education, went back for his LCSW and his LCAC. Um, Brittany Hill is our clinical director. She's incredible. She's always up for anybody to come and volunteer and share their story to help the people that are in our facility know that there is hope. And then right now, we're actually in the process. We just hired a different medical director. Dr. Siddiqui was with us for an extended period of time, but we've got a new one coming on board. Again, our new medical director's background is all addictions. He was a hospitalist for a hospital here in Indy for several years. So we're really excited to welcome him. And then Candace is our DON. So this is wrong. We have 88 beds total at the Recovery Village of Indianapolis. We have 3 units. So we have medical detox, and the beds between detox and residential kind of can switch up depending on where the need is. But generally, we have about 15 beds for detox, the bulk of beds for residential, and then we do also have 15 beds for partial hospitalization with housing. So people can stay and live with us for an additional 2 to 3 weeks before leaving the facility, just to make sure they're feeling good about their exit plan. So on site, we have an indoor gym. We have a really great outdoor area. I'm a person that is fully believing in needing sunshine and fresh air all the time. I would live outside if I could. And everybody has those abilities to come and go. We offer smoking, so people can smoke on site with us as long as their cigarettes and vapes come in a closed package, just to keep for the safety measures. There is a smoking porch on every unit, so people can really come and go outside as they want to. And then we've got a big recreational area with cornhole and basketball courts and pickleball and all of the good things. We focus our modalities of treatment on acceptance and commitment therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, cognitive processing therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, eye movement, EMDR. Neurocognitive therapy, and motivational interviewing. Clinical and other offerings. We do group counseling sessions daily, individual counseling sessions weekly, family engagement weekly, and then patient engagement activities. So we do bring in 12-step meetings that we offer smart recovery. I would not go to a place where we didn't all believe, I wouldn't work for a place where we didn't all believe that recovery is not a one size fits all. And so we really make an effort to offer all modalities of recovery to the person, which is really important to me. Um, okay. I'm not going to go through like the extensive. If anybody is like interested in any of these modalities and would like to learn more, I will get Heather a copy of this when I figure out how. I should have already sent it to her, but for whatever reason, it won't let me email it all the way through. I'll get her a copy and you guys can look through this. It's really cool. Like the we'll hit on a couple of them. So recreational therapy, super important. All of the modalities of treatment that we already talked about. We do have a peer support program. Our certified peer specialist program is a vital component of our mental health and substance use disorder treatment models. Peer specialists bring lived experience and specialized training to support, inspire, and connect with individuals on their recovery journey by offering empathy, encouragement, and real world insight. And I really love that Recovery Village recognizes the vital need for this. As everybody on this call knows, we are vital in helping somebody to move through the stages of change. And so having peers on board is huge. Um, so we do have a couple of other programs that are not located in Indiana that are really important to mention. We offer something called Fortitude, which is our first responder track. So this is specific to anybody that has first responder experience or are part of the VA. We are contracted with the VA, so we can accept VA benefits over Medicaid or Medicare if that's a need. I really love that we offer Fortitude. It is specialized. It's not in Indiana, but we will provide transportation to get people to where they need to go. We just recognize that it's a special kind of niche that needs to be met in a different way than traditional treatment. Um, so something that Recovery Village really focuses on is reducing that recidivism rate. It's just our goal is for the readmissions to stop. We want to get them through treatment the first time, if at all possible, and keep them on a positive, healthy pathway to recovery. I do not. Sorry, Heather. There's like a lot in here, and I'm not going to hit on all of it. But yeah, I mean, so that's the basic of it. The big thing for you guys to know, if you have somebody that is looking for treatment, you guys can call me directly, even if it's you don't know, like, hey, Lindsay, like, I don't think this person has insurance. I'll always help you find the best spot for people. I also recognize that recovery is not a one size fits all, and so we always have to navigate all angles for all people. I I've worked in the Indianapolis community for my entire career, born and raised Indy, and I manage referrals all the way north. And so if you guys need it, I can definitely help you find it. Give me a call. MN Nesting, do you have a question? Sorry, M Nesting.
I do. Do you take people with emotional support animals?
So that's a great question. We have had people get accepted with that have an emotional support animal. What happens with that is you guys send me the information through, and I put the person in touch with our admissions team so that they can make sure that they get everything they need. But we definitely have had admissions of people who needed an emotional support animal.
Do they have to have the paperwork with them?
So admissions really works on that. Well, like I don't want to say for sure one way or the other. What I know is that we've definitely had admissions with emotional supports, and I always tell people it's a case by case basis sometimes. Like people will be like, "Well, Lindsay, this person has this level of detox and this person has this level of detox, but there might be like comorbidities on board." And so with the service animal, it's like if you're looking, let's get you in touch with admissions and see what we can do to get them figured out.
And we'll open up for Q&A after Lindsay completes her presentation. So if you have any questions, just try to keep them, remember them, and then we'll open up for conversation after Lindsay finishes.
Yeah, so the one thing that is like really vital, so we do admissions from anywhere and everywhere. If you need me, call me, is always what I want to say. We accept the forms of insurance that we accept. This one is really important. We cannot do presumptive eligibility. We can do commercial insurance. We take Medicaid, all forms of Medicaid, and we're contracted with the VA. I get a lot of questions about presumptive. If it was up to me, we would accept presumptive. It's just not something that we can do right now. But call me. I'll help you find it. Um, the last thing I want to say, I probably should have started with this. When I was 21 years old, I had a drug-induced seizure after several years of using substances, and I was placed on life support. And on day 6, my parents were told that my brain functioning was so limited that they needed to start the organ donation process. And my dad signed the organ donation papers and said, "Can we wait 24 more hours?" And the doctor said yes. And on day 7, I opened my eyes. It is because of places like Recovery Village that I'm able to sit in front of you today. And I know that a lot of us have lived experience like that. I am all about being the most supportive, and your guys' stories make a huge impact in our community. And I want you to know how grateful I am to be sitting with you today. It's people like us that helped me have the seat. So, yeah.
Thank you, Lindsay. And I did drop in the chat a brochure for Recovery Villages and then a card that Lindsay passed along. So that information is there if you can download it from the chat. If you can't, you can email me and I'll just send it to you. So with that, thank you, Lindsay, and thank you for sharing a little bit of your story as well. Does
Yeah.
anyone have any questions now for Lindsay? Feel free to unmute yourself or raise your virtual hand or physical hand, and we'll open it up for questions and answers. And I think, Diane, you might have had one.
I do. Thank you, Lindsay. Great information. I've never heard of this organization before. So, can you just quickly touch base about the family education piece?
Yeah, so we really focus. So the family education is one of my absolute favorite things that we do, and we really do focus on. So we get the families in. Excuse me. We get the families in. We want them to be engaged in the treatment process, and so like I said, we do those one-on-one family sessions. So that is with a licensed therapist, once a week for the entire residential stay, and education, not only it's education for the family about what the person in treatment is going through. It's also education for the person in treatment about what the family is going through. And we do all of that with a licensed therapist on board. We really try to bridge that gap, and start that healing process within the family unit. We also offer the ability for kids to come and visit their parents while in treatment if that's a thing for them.
That's great. Thank you so much, Lindsay. That's
You're
wonderful news.
welcome. Yeah.
Anyone
Any other?
else? Yeah. Any other questions for Lindsay? Okay, I have one. Do you all have staff at the treatment center who are bilingual? Meaning, are you able to provide services for someone who only speaks Spanish without an interpreter coming in like 9 to 5 only on Monday or Tuesday or something like that?
This is honestly a really good question, Heather. I wish that we had bilingual staff on board all the time, but we do use an interpretation service when things are, it's one of those things. I think that as we continue to expand out, I know that there's a big push for us to get some bilingual therapists on board, but we just haven't found the right people yet.
Yeah, I know it's a challenge. I had someone reach out to me looking for that specifically last week, and I searched low and high, and it was lots of barriers for that. So,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
all right, that's a whole nother sidebar conversation we could have. Okay. Anybody else have questions for Lindsay? If not, thank you, Lindsay. You are welcome to stick around for the rest of the meeting. But with that, if you don't mind to stop sharing your screen, and then we will turn it over to Mary.
Hey, can I throw one thing out there, Heather?
Sure.
So I put a grant in there from OpenAI for AI. There are actually earbuds that can do that translating. So if you work for a nonprofit, you might want to look at that OpenAI grant. And if you have questions about that, feel free to contact me. But there are earbuds that can do direct translation that you don't have to hire somebody. It can translate back and forth between the therapist and the individual receiving therapy.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you, Jason, for sharing that. I'll definitely look into that to pass along for sure, because I think it's a need. Okay, Mary, if you're ready.
I'm right here, ready to go. All right, I will share my screen and give you my exciting presentation of the day. Now, too many things going on my screen. I got to find the right place to open it up. All right, So I'm Mary Lay. I'm with the Indiana Problem Gambling Awareness Program. And as Heather said, we have a very long location title. We are a part of Prevention Insights at the IU Bloomington School of Public Health at Indiana University. Our project is funded by the Division of Mental Health and Addiction through the Gamblers Assistance Fund. And if you're not familiar with the Gamblers Assistance Fund, there are tax levies placed on casinos and other gaming in Indiana, and they do pay tax. They do pay into the state and into the general fund, and a certain portion of that money then goes to prevention and treatment of people with problem gambling. So that's how we are funded, and we've been around since 2005. And things have really grown since 2005. In 2005, when a provider would enroll someone, they got all the money that there was to pay to do for that person, and they had to figure out how to dole that out and treat them and have their treatment. We have now gone to a fee-for-service based approach where it is the program can be tailored to the person. So if they need intensive outpatient, they could do that. If they need individual sessions, they can do that. If they need family sessions, we can do that. We also provide transportation through that program. So talk a little bit more about that. But I really like that we've grown from here you go, figure it out, to the state has to we'll help you make a program to meet the needs of your clients. My team consists of myself, Desiree Reynolds, who is a researcher for us, and Amy Frederick is our main trainer. So if you ever join some of our trainings, you might see Amy on there. This is what we do primarily. We provide trainings and resources to Division of Mental Health endorsed treatment providers. So I saw Aspire on here. They're a provider. So we have the majority of our providers are at community mental health centers. However, we do have some smaller organizations and some individual clinicians who offer training, who offer services. We do the treatment compliance program. There's some training requirements and some documentation requirements, and we help the state oversee that and then provide technical assistance to anyone who is part of the program if they need assistance in getting those things done or finding a training or something else. We do approach this with a co-occurring approach. We recognize that gambling does not generally appear by itself. Most people have some sort of co-occurring situation, where it be a mental health situation or another addiction situation. So we do approach it from both. The funding goes primarily to the gambling addiction, but we do allow for services and education things to address them both at the same time. So that's it. We do prevention and awareness activities throughout the year. We collect data. We do the Indiana Adult Gambling Behavior Survey every 2 years, which is a random sample of the state. And we've been able to identify how gambling is going in the state and how it's affecting those around us. We also collect data about youth. And we also collect data about college students, and we do some of that in collaboration with one of Heather's coworkers, Lisa Hutchison, who is at Mental Health America. So we all kind of work in a group thing of approaching this. We do some research. We do have 3 courses on the IU Expand system, which is an international 24/7 training portal. And those of you who are in Indiana can take the courses on that for free. You just reach out to me and I'll give you a coupon code. But they prepare you to do kind of 3 different things. One of them is to be a certified counselor or be prepared to treat people who are gambling addicted. We also have continuing education sessions, which are on more specified things like CBT and motivational interviewing and some of those things. And then we have a new 3rd session, which I believe is kind of our most interesting one. It is designed for those who are in the community, whether they're in a spiritual based system or a community member, or if they're just a concerned family member or concerned friend. It's a less intense than the 30 hours for the counselor certification training, but it does cover all of those things that would be important to know. And those are free to all of you. I mentioned that we have the gambling survey, and we also are recognized to offer continuing education credits both from ICATA and from the International Gambling Association. So we do that. I just want to share a little bit about gambling in Indiana. Indiana ranks 7th nationally in gambling revenue, which we all should cheer and applaud because we used to be 3rd. So I guess dropping to 7th, since availability of a drug or access to things often raises the number of people who have problems, we've dropped down a little bit. We are not gambling at the same rate as we are gambling at a greater rate, but there are other states who are gambling even more than we are. Gambling does exist in Indiana code. It is required in the code that the Division of Mental Health provides services for treatment and prevention of problem gambling, and also supports a hotline number for people to call and get assistance. We are seeing youth engaging in more and more gambling behaviors, particularly around esports and video gaming. Disordered gambling impacts about 3% of Hoosiers, but out of that 3%, only about 10% seek treatment. And of those who seek treatment, the number who stay with treatment is low, as it's always a challenge to keep people to stay within their, to come to their treatment. But even with gamblers, it seems to be even a greater challenge sometimes. We have a variety of research projects. I wanted to share that in 2025, Indiana Hoosiers within the state lines, because they could be people from Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan or elsewhere, wagered $5.65 billion. Billion with a B, money with a B, not an M, but 5.6. So looking at that, that is about 10% of the state general operating budget for the whole entire state of Indiana. But it is also more than the state of Idaho budgets to manage their entire state. So just to give you kind of an idea of the scope of the problem, or the situation, it can be a kind of a daunting thing to look at. So I wanted to address that gambling is more than just a game. I do come to this as gambling neutral. As with other legal substances, some people can participate without experiencing issues, while others cannot. So we take the approach that if you are of legal age and you do not have issues with it, we will provide you support so you can do it with knowledge as you go forward. But if you do need help, we provide services to practitioners in order for them to be able to offer treatment. So what is gambling? It's putting money or something of value at risk. It's once you put it down, you can't get it back. It's determined by chance. We don't know how it's going to turn out. You hope of winning something greater value. And one of the biggest components, besides putting something at value at risk, and it's what you value, how you value that thing that you put down makes it valuable, is there's no never minds or redos. You can't put the money down and then change your mind that you don't want to do that. Except that I have noticed in recent months that there are some of the sports gaming sites that allow you to cash out before the game's over. You used to have to wait until the game was over. So they have kind of introduced a never mind. So if you were betting on the Knicks last week and in the third quarter, you had said they were going to win, but in the third quarter you had seen, oh, nope, they're not going to win. You can cash out. Now you'll just cash out and get your money back. But had you stayed in, you would have had a much bigger win. But it allows you to kind of decide if you made a smart bet at the beginning. So not everyone does that, but a lot of them have started to do that. Ways to gamble: bingo, playing cards, dominoes, casino games, dice, flipping coins or cards, games of skill like basketball or golf or those sorts of things, lotteries, horse racing, raffles, pull tabs. If you don't know what a pull tab is, you can get them at most bars, and you can also get them from vending machines in some locations. They are a small cardboard card that has a paper flip that comes up on it, and they are usually sold for anywhere from 25 to 75 cents, and you open that, and if you open that, you win what the prize is. Here's a little interesting thing about pull tabs. Once a pull tab is out there in the market, that pull tab stays in the market until all of the pull tabs have been sold, no matter what the status of the prize availability is. So, and you will often see if you're in a bar or in a club sort of environment that there'll be piles and piles of pull tabs in front of someone, because people who do who enjoy the pull tabs will have get good enough that they can flip it on the table and open several of them in a short period of time. So that's one of the things that we do some training around, is watching and identifying some of those behaviors people take that may be putting them at risk. Day trading is can be considered a gambling behavior because you don't know what's going to happen. Online betting and prediction markets. Is there anything else any of you think gambling that might be gambling that I haven't mentioned, or that you have a question about? We'll go on. If you think of anything, we'll get to that later. So why do people gamble? Well, because it's fun, it's entertaining, it's exciting because you don't know how it's going to turn out. It can be an escape, a way to kill some time or take your mind off of something that's bothering you. Economics from the standpoint, well, if I win this bet, I'll be able to do XYZ, or if I win this bet, I can put the money back in my bank account to cover the rent because I lost it last week. And so there's a both looking forward to earning cash, but also chasing the money that you have lost. And then your ego, because you think you are really good at it. You are really good at poker. You are really good at blackjack. Some people, though, will say, I'm really good at slot machines because I'm really good at video games. The difference between a video game and a slot machine is the video game does have a design that you can win the game. The slot machine is totally random. So there is no design where you can figure out and have the right clue to go in and win that. So that's something that we do as part of our thing, is make sure people really understand how gaming works and gambling works. 42% of those seeking gambling treatment are female. It used to be very large disparity between males and females. That number is getting closer and closer to being the same. Disordered gambling, like other addictions, do run in families. The earlier that you start gambling, the greater the risk of developing a problem. About 20% of Indiana high school seniors in the last survey that we did in schools participated in the lottery. What's interesting is you must be 18 to participate in the lottery, and majority of seniors in Indiana start out at 17. Some do turn 18 during that year, but there's still a large number at 17. And our enrollment numbers have been going up, but the last numbers I had was from 2020, and we had about 1,000 gamblers. So we see that we have about 3% of our population, which is 6 million, who have some sort of problem, but only about 1,000 people come and look for treatment. I just wanted to share that there's also a lot of costs associated with gambling. Not only do we have high levels of wagering, but we also have about $7 billion in impact on families and individuals, whether it be from divorce, crime, losing their job, having to file bankruptcy, losing their house, those sorts of things. And also be aware that about 20 to 25% of those with the substance use disorder may also have a gambling issue. And that's why it's very important when people are working with groups of people that you screen and ask questions. And we have some screening tools that you can use, short 2 or 3 questions, 4 or 5 questions, but it's important to ask the question rather than think, well, no, they're using marijuana or they're using cocaine, so they're probably not doing these other things, but oftentimes that is the case. And it's also the case with mental health issues. So this is one of the important things that has changed about gambling in the last several years. It is now considered an addiction by the DSM rather than an impulse control disorder. It is not that you don't have control over your impulses, but that it does have an addictive pattern with it. And if you look at some brain scans and some other things, looks very similar to people who are in active drug use when they're in active gambling use. So there are some similarities. Common signs that you'll see are people lying about how much time they spent gambling, about the money, continuing to gamble even when they've had negative impacts. They're preoccupied with gambling. If you have someone you know who always wants to play poker for money, who always wants to go to the casino, who always wants to go to the track, who only wants to watch sports, and they have their phone in their hand because here's your little home pocket casino with you that you can take everywhere you go. They want to be part of the action all the time. It is disruptive to your work, to your relationships, to your health, and also your family well-being. This is the DSM criteria, and it's very similar to some of the criteria you see for substances. You're restless or irritable when you don't do it. You want to do it more and more. You're often preoccupied with being able to do it again. It often leaves you feeling distressed or anxious. And you often want to get, not only do you look sometimes to get another high, you want to look to get another opportunity to gamble and win your money back. You lie to conceal the extent of your involvement. You've jeopardized relationships and jobs as a result of it. And you rely on others to provide support to you financially to relieve the stresses and the impact of gambling. So the criteria used to include breaking the law or criminal acts, but that's no longer seen as kind of a key component of it. It's more about you as an individual rather than some desperation type activities. So this is just kind of an overview of our program, as we said, and I just wanted to kind of go over quickly what we do. We do collect data, as I mentioned. We also have been doing focus groups with different groups of people. We have done focus groups with those in gambling recovery. We have also done some focus groups with those who are in addiction recovery, substance recovery, and talk to them about how they think about or how they view gambling. And when it comes time to do that again, Heather, I will reach out to you because we're always recruiting people in recovery to work with, to participate in these focus groups. Most Hoosiers at the last survey, which was 2 years ago, about 85% of Indiana residents had gambled, over 18 had gambled at least once in the last year. About 72% of them participate in lottery. About half go to a casino, and about 20% do sports gambling. I will be interested to see, we'll be starting collecting data in the spring of 27, has that number changed? And has that shifted? We do know that men still gamble more likely than women. We have about 2% of any adults who have ever sought treatment, even though they identify as having some sort of gambling issue. 61% of the respondents reported playing various lottery drawings. So as we see those numbers over there, and younger individuals like the more active ones, such as playing dice, as sports betting, games of personal skill, fantasy sports, online gaming, and those sorts of things. So our survey said males really like online and sports gaming. They're usually between the ages of 18 to 34. They have easy access to gambling and money. They have a family history of addiction. They do believe in luck and have superstitions. Women often play slots and table games, and they all come from various income levels. It is not someone of a lower income level. We see higher income levels participating at the same rate. The other thing that is on here with males, and when we talk about online, is the purchasing of loot boxes within a video game. And if you play, I don't know if anybody plays video games. If you play video games, especially online ones, you'll get along and then you'll get stuck and you can't flip that one more thing, or you run out of chances for the day. You can buy a box that will have some sort of reward in it, and you don't know if that reward's going to be a new skin or cover up hat for your player, or more chances, or more time to play. So that is becoming more and more common among our gamblers. About 100% of the respondents who were classified as having a gambling disorder had used alcohol within the last month. Young adults have higher rates of alcohol use, vaping, and marijuana in this group. And overall, a misuse of drugs was reported at least by 12% of the respondents. We ask it as a yearly question. We are probably looking at doing it at the 30-day question. We do in our other surveys ask lifetime, monthly, and annual, and we're probably going to be looking at doing monthly and find how closely associated those behaviors are. A survey, we do a school survey that is done in the schools every spring. That data is always online and available to anybody. We don't report individual schools, but we do report information by regions of the state. Youth facts, they're very similar. They have poor academics, they miss school, they have fights with their family and significant others. They often participate in underage drinking as well as smoking and other drug use. They are younger, high-risk behaviors begin. The younger the high-risk behavior begins, the more likely addiction is going to occur. And youth gambling experience rates at 2 to 3 times higher than adults. Much like some substances, we see a high use rate, alcohol, for example, with certain groups that when they're in high school or college, the use rate is higher. And then when they graduate and go into the workforce or something, that number comes back down to reflect what other adults are doing. So it's not that they won't have a problem or that that's going to be true for everyone, but we do see kind of a fluctuation as you mature, that you're more active at a younger age if you started than you are as you grow into an adult. These are some red flags for gambling. They appear distracted. They have erratic schedules. They spend hours on sites. They're always obsessed with the scores. Oh, I got to check the score of that game. Oh, I got to check the score of that game. They borrow money from you and they don't repay it. They begin to sell their personal belongings to get cash. With youth, you will see that they will trade their Nikes, their prized Nikes for a bet or for money from someone. These are kind of the risk factors that we look at, which is access to gambling options, beginning at a young age. You don't see it as harmful. As I was saying before we started, you hear the phrase responsible gaming a lot, but research has been showing us as of late that responsible gaming is not the way to approach putting limits on your gambling. It's safe gambling. It's participating in a safe way. Because if you say responsible, the person can say, well, I'm responsible. I'm not irresponsible. This doesn't apply to me. But you have to approach the people. You have to approach the people who are that you're working with in a way that puts it in a language that they understand and that they can work with. Experience stress and anxiety, and they often have family conflict. Video games, about 40% of youth in our surveys do participate in video games. And so that video games is one of our new and growing areas. Prevention, a couple of things about prevention. One of the big things is to avoid, if you have the opportunity to plan activities for high school youth, for younger youth, not offering activities as a poker night or a casino night at the prom or the after prom is a good way not to kind of expose people to those activities early. Oftentimes, people will buy scratch-off tickets and give them to their kids and grandkids and others as Christmas gifts. And they, if you're not 18, you're not supposed to participate in the lottery. Interesting enough, most of the time, if they do get these as gifts, they're not supposed to have them, but they are usually able to cash them in and get that cash. Clear school policies or work policies on gambling, clear policies on gambling within facilities as well. Just as we look at tobacco as well, we need to allow this here because it's another, we're addressing this addiction and this is another addiction. There are many places where they'll say, okay, you can play poker, and not thinking about that poker is actually gambling and you may be triggering someone or creating a problem for them. I know within the prison system that ramen is often used in games, poker games and other things, that people will bet their ramen in order to have a currency to bet. Avoid the mixed messages such as casino night fundraisers. There is a hotline in Indiana. It is 800-994-8448. It is free. It is 24/7. It is actually staffed with people who are trained as gambling counselors. They can run through some small kind of brief interventions with people who call, but they also will make referrals to them to one of the endorsed providers in the state. One of the nice things about in Indiana, if you present and you meet the qualifications to be admitted into gambling treatment services in Indiana at an endorsed provider, there is no income basis for that. You can be the town, rich guy, or you can be the person who doesn't, who, looks for money for their next meal. We recognize that money is your problem oftentimes, and that we are not going to penalize you because you have an income at a certain level and not be able to get treatment. And that's items again. We are in Bloomington, as I said. I work at the at Prevention Insights. Prevention Insights primarily focuses on substance use prevention, as well as training for those who provide substance use treatment. We have a large motivational interviewing training program at our facility. Heather, next time we have a training, I'll make sure to share that with you. People can sign up for those. We also do mental health first aid, as well as other programs such as CBT and some other things. So we do offer those. We are not a service provider. We are a support provider. So we would support you. And just to share, in the gambling menu of services, recovery services is covered for an individual. So some of our providers actually have recovery specialists who work with them, who work specifically with gamblers in their organization. So that's it. This is how to reach me. And Heather, I just realized my email address is wrong. So, oh no, that one's fine. That one will work. IU has changed everybody's email address in the last couple of months, so I have to watch which one's right. So sorry about that. And that's all I have to share today. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mary. I always learn something new every time I attend one of your trainings or the summit. I was wondering if you could share with folks, so some of you all may have seen the business cards that have the number or information. How can folks reach out if they want to get some materials for their center or to pass out to folks?
The best way is just to reach out to me.
Okay.
If I don't have some, there is another organization in the state called the Indiana Council on Problem Gambling. They have a lot of those cards and some other stand things, but we'll look, if you need some resources, if you reach out to us, we'll find, if it's not us, we'll find somebody else can share them. And almost everything we do is of no cost to those in the state of Indiana, because we are funded by the state to provide these services.
Thank you. Yeah, I think those are so helpful. And it's just, in my opinion, and we did a statewide survey to the about, do folks present with gambling or problem gaming issues? And a large majority on the survey said that that's actually not something that they even discussed, at least at that time. And then a question was, if someone presented with that, do your peers feel like they are equipped to support and address that? And a lot of them said no. And so we always try to share about your free trainings. You guys are doing some great work. They have a 2-day conference in the spring. So I would encourage you to get on their listserv if you are not already. And I will just say also, aside from the information I gained at the conference, some of the best spread I've seen at a conference, and y'all know how some of that conference food can be. So
yeah, there's a thing known as the conference chicken, which is that really dry piece of chicken. It seems like you go to trainings, you either get a dry piece of chicken or a turkey sandwich. So So you're really welcome. Chris Gray, who is at the Indiana Council, puts that on, and she really does what she can to welcome those in and kind of give you a thank you back for the things that everybody does. So she puts some thought into making sure everybody's really comfortable and can enjoy that.
Yeah,
And
it's great. I learned so much from that.
yeah, so and if you can't reach me or you can't find where to reach me, Heather can, I'm sure, share that. This.
Yep, I did drop your PowerPoint in a PDF file, so that's in the chat too. So everything Mary just shared with us is in the chat. If you can't download it, just email me. Any questions for Mary before we open it up? We have a few minutes for everybody to plug. All right, thank you. I'm going to do a shameless plug in the chat. We are having, or I'm facilitating an in-person training in Lake County next month. So that information's there. Share it with your networks. Anyone you know up and around that area. Registration is open. I'm going to also drop my email in the chat. Okay. So we have a few minutes. Anyone want to share? You can raise your virtual or physical hand. I'll call on you as I see you. If you want to plug any work you're doing, no pressure. Oh, okay. Jason, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Yeah, Jason Paget. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I now work for Citizen AI. We have a vertical AI application that has a chat GPT type of interface that social workers, peer recovery coaches, case managers can give their clients. And then that it is trained on motivational interviewing and has a much more vetted database than findhelp.org. It's about 80% correct. Findhelp.org is about 40% correct. And so through natural language, it walks them through navigating wraparound services and benefits when they don't have access to a human. If you're between $500,000 and $10 million nonprofit, that OpenAI grant would completely cover deploying something like this. So I'm going to put that link to that grant again here, and then my email address. Please feel free to reach out with me if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jason. Anyone else want to share?
Is that HIPAA compliant, Jason?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, and thank you for asking that. So if a nonprofit provides it to their clients, the clients sign that they're agree to this, but then the case managers get that information back for their reporting as well. So you can see which services your clients actually leveraged through the app and which ones they're going to out in the community.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, I dropped in the chat. Our next meeting is July 16th. So it's always the third Thursday of the month, 12 to 1 via Zoom, same link. We've been doing these for 7 years. So we try to keep it consistent so folks know where to find us. If you want to present at an upcoming meeting, please do email me and I'll get you added to the agenda. If your organization is not a member of the Recovery Network, you can email me and I'll send you the registration form. Just make sure you kind of meet the criteria. Membership is still free. So if you're not on our website yet, just reach out to me and we'll get that going for you. So it's 1 o'clock. Thank you all for attending. I hope you have a great summer and I will see you in July.